She did her MBA. She did her MBA from the University of Wales, UK. Currently, she is working on her PhD research in blockchain-enabled metaverse security. Total experience she has of 9+ years in product management, consulting, requirement gathering, solutioning, application development, and project delivery. She has worked with various MNCs like KPIT, Sears Holdings, IBM, Siemens, and Entity Data Asia Pacific. Currently, she works as a senior product manager at Tata Digital Private Limited. She has a strong working experience in 10 plus countries, catering to the customers across USA, UK, Singapore, Japan, China, Hong Kong, Malaysia, Thailand, and India. She also works as a training consultant for Blockchain Council, where she trains corporate professionals across globe, including CEOs, CTOs, architects, managers, and developers. She works closely with academia and has mentored 1,500 plus students so far through her workshops, seminars, expert lectures, mentorship, and project guidance. She is nominated on the governing body of PICT. She has many international publications under her name, including journal papers, book chapters, conferences papers, and lecture notes. So we are really honored to have such an eminent personality. I welcome once again, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Uh, it's my honor to be here among you all, and I hope I'll be able to cover the concept of blockchain for metaverse well, so that you can apply it in your maybe if you are having research in the similar area, or if you are planning to have some projects in the same field. So I'll be very happy to do that. Going forward, also, if you need any guidance in the similar field, feel free to reach out to me through the college. So I'll just share my screen, and once it's visible, just let me. Hope the screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. Thanks for the confirmation. Thank you so much once again for joining the session. I'll keep the flow open in case you have any questions. Feel free to ask in between, or you can write in the chat so that I'm aware that what you are understanding and what is not. I'll take from the basics to advanced level. So first of all, I'll talk about blockchain. I know already you must have heard about it in the last few sessions. So I'll just take 5 to 10 minutes to introduce so that everybody is on the same page. And why I'm introducing it here is because blockchain is the foundational technology for metaverse. So how it is being used in the metaverse platforms, how metaverse internally works, and how blockchain is helping in achieving what we are trying to do with the help of metaverse applications. So all of that I'll be talking about, and then specifically what are the applications of blockchain which are being developed in the metaverse environments. What are the platforms around the same? Which industries are being affected because of this? Even in teaching and learning, how metaverse is affecting, which universities are implementing the projects around the same. So all those things we will be discussing in today's session. Feel free to ask questions, interact. Happy to learn from you as well. So that's the brief. I'll start with just 5 minutes introduction with blockchain. We all know the potential. If we consider around 57% of the large organizations, whether it is Google, Microsoft, product-based companies like Google, Microsoft, Amazon, all of them are using blockchain as part of their. They have various teams established for various applications, and also we have service-based companies. They have dedicated blockchain teams in various companies, whether it is TCS, Cognizant, or any of those companies, right? So all of them are using blockchain, and it's not new now. All of us are aware of the technology, how why do we need that in the public sector? If you consider like some of you, when you travel, you must have heard about DG Yatra application, which is used in the if you want to check in fast. So there is a DG Yatra app which is launched by government, and it is based on blockchain. So you must have heard about applications like e-rupee, which is the concept which is coming in. 18 banks have come together to form a consortium based on blockchain, and they are implementing a e-rupee concept. So instead of having a physical currency or going to ATM and withdrawing the physical notes, you can have e-rupee concept. So we can have your bank account and use the UPI to transfer to certain accounts whenever you want to transfer it digitally. But at the same time, what if we completely remove the concept of physical notes or physical currency and have everything in a digital format? So with that thought, few banks have come together and they are forming a banking consortium. So there are certain applications being built. So for example, if you are depositing a check of SBI into HDFC Bank, it might take a day or two to actually get converted or the cash being deposited into your account. So to avoid that delay, can we have it instantly? So all these banks who interact with one another, at least major banks, are coming together on blockchain so that whenever you are depositing a cash, that amount will be deposited into your account immediately. So such applications are being built. So it's not something new. We can see many applications around us which are being built on blockchain, and it's into production. Another interesting application of that is in the IIT Madras is working with government for building a system for voting, right? So you must have heard last time in 2024 elections, it was used for having voting based on blockchain, right? So why, especially for aged people or handicapped people, it is difficult to travel to the booths. So you can have mobile-based voting. So such applications are also being developed. It has applications in the ration distribution system, organ donation. So there is a waiting list for the receivers, and there is a waiting list for the donors as well. So sometimes because of the influence some people cause, um, the waiting list is sometimes biased. So let's say there are 5 people who are waiting for um, a transplant of a kidney, and there are 5 donors are there, and some influential person comes, or there are some bribe mechanism, so through which you can go up in the list of organ donation. So that might cause harm to other patients who are waiting in the queue. So to avoid that, um, uh, there can be an application built on blockchain, which is nothing but all the donations as well as the receivers list is maintained on blockchain, and you cannot tamper with that data, and all those um, inherent features of blockchain are already in place, and that way you can avoid such um, frauds which might happen in the organ donation. Again, the fraudulent certificates which are issued by the universities, or some fake degree certificates which can be issued by universities, such things are also being implemented on blockchain. So there are n number of applications, not just private organizations, but governments are also taking active part in the blockchain implementation, and it is already in the production. So whether it is Bank of England, Bank of Thailand, many major banks across the world, even World Bank, all of them are using blockchain for various applications. So there is huge potential of this technology, and not just in one of the domains. When we say 3.1 trillion by 2030 using blockchain, I mean the blockchain market is expected to be at 3.1 trillion US dollars by 2030. So it is across various domains. So if we take retail, so Amazon is using, Walmart is using blockchain. Then if you talk about manufacturing, then BMW, so automotive manufacturing. So BMW is using uh, blockchain. If we consider banking, like I mentioned, Bank of England, Thailand, RBI, all of them are using. AI insurance companies are using blockchain. If we consider communications, media services, so Viacom 18 is using blockchain for avoiding the piracy. So musical tunes or advertisements, when they are generated at one part of the world, somebody might create a replica of it, or they might have the piracy or musical piracy, which can be created. So to avoid that, we can have all those IPs basically, which you have intellectual properties on blockchain, and you can have a track of it. We'll talk about NFTs and all over the period of this session. Then, like I mentioned, in the government education, to avoid, for example, fake degrees in education, it is being used in healthcare as well. So, pharma chains, especially, we have observed in the period of COVID that there were many fake vaccines which were available in the market, fake medicines, counterfeit medicines were available. To avoid that, there is a tie-up between government and Oracle company. So they are building a pharma chain on blockchain where complete traceability, integration of IoT and blockchain is happening, and complete integration. With this integration, they have a complete traceability that where it was manufactured, on what date. With that, if there is any tampering of the boxes in which those medicines are moving from one place to another place. So if somebody is trying to replace those medicines, then that can be tracked. Again, the temperature at which those are moving from, let's say the requirement is the medicine should be transferred at between the temperature of 0 to 10 degrees. And in case there is any violation of that rule, so in that case, the trigger is or the event is sent to blockchain, and it is recorded that on so and so date at so and so time the temperature was not maintained. So there might be alteration of the formula in the medicines. So all of that is being tracked, and in production, it's live. And then various transport companies, including DHL for logistics, they are using blockchain even for traceability of in the supply chain as well. It is being used. So just like I mentioned about pharma chain, even Starbucks is implementing it for coffee uh, application. So when you go to a Starbucks outlet and you order a coffee, let's say Java chip coffee, do you know that um, really those chips or coffee beans are coming from Java or not? So even Ghana is largest producer of coffee beans. So they have complete traceability of such products in the. So you get to scan the coffee. There is a QR code, and you can scan that, and you will get the traceability when it was planted, at what temperature it was packed, at what temperature it was grounded, and all of that. So um, all this traceability you get with the help of blockchain. So in the transport also it is being used, and not just limited to these sectors, but there are n number of sectors where it is being used. You just name the domain, and it has applications of blockchain. So this is where we have reached now. So uh, it's like, for example, whenever we have such sessions, or whenever we have any application being built, or any online transactions that are happening, we assume that there will be underlying internet technology, right? So similarly, going forward, blockchain will be the assumed underlying technology for metaverse, and that's why we need to learn basics of blockchain and understand where it is being used, so that we can take one step ahead of that and go towards metaverse applications. So this is where the market has reached in various applications. Uh, Briefly, I'm sure you must have heard about it. So in 2008, there was a recession, Lehman Brothers crash has happened, and around the same time, people started losing trust in the centralized system. So if we consider similar example now in India, everybody is in some way or other associated with any of the banks, for example, SBI. So large number of people have their accounts there, or they have their salaries are deposited into those banks, their pensions deposited into the bank, people have savings there. And one day SBI comes and says that no, I cannot, I'm bankrupt, and they declare bankruptcy. I cannot pay back all the amount that you have deposited with the bank, right? Similarly, Lehman Brothers was the investment banking firm in USA. Just like we keep on investing in the private firms as well, just like in mutual funds or similar. People keep on investing their life savings into this firm, and suddenly in 2008 they came and said that we declare bankruptcy. So because of that, people started losing trust in the centralized system. So there was a need of something which is decentralized, which is transparent, which is at least to the stakeholders who are a part of this network, they should be able to see the transactions, what's going on, right? So for that, there came a need of having a platform which will be decentralized. Again, there will not be any one authority, but there will be a peer-to-peer kind of network. There will be auditability of what transactions were happening at what point in time, and the relevant stakeholders should be able to see like what transactions are going on. Uh, Also because of that, there is also a need of a parallel currency. Why? Because at that time there was for example, dollars. So the value of dollar was falling. People who had invested in such currencies, there was a direct relationship with their incomes or their pensions or whatever is the relevant area that they are associated with. So because of that, people started losing trust in the fiat currencies, what we call it as. So fiat is nothing but your rupees or dollars or euro. So regular physical currencies that we have. So with that thought process, this paper was published. I'm sure most of you would be aware. In case not, I'll just uh, give a link of that. Yeah. So this is the first paper where blockchain started. So I'll just put a link here so that whenever you have time, you can go through and understand how exactly Bitcoin was proposed. So in 2008, this paper was released. People started, we don't know whether that is a person or that is an organization. It is a name used just to hide the identity. So it is a Satoshi Nakamoto was the person who has published this white paper. And then people started implementing a concept which is proposed in that, which was nothing but Bitcoin network. So that was the first blockchain platform which came into existence. And that was a public blockchain platform because anybody can see what are the transactions. Even now, if you go to website like Blockchain Explorer, can go to Blockchain Explorer, and you can see what are the current transactions which are going on in the uh, these are the latest blocks which are created in the Bitcoin network. So if you go to Ethereum, which is another public platform, you can see what are the current blocks which are created because these are public blockchains. In case 10 different banks come together and they want to have a blockchain platform, that will be private blockchain. You can see here, this is the latest block which just got created, 836 ending with. So you can see immediately 837. This is in Ethereum. So these are the blocks getting created. In case you want to go inside and see, so you can see hash of previous block, hash of this block, what are the internal transactions, how many 65 transactions are there in this block, what are those transactions, you can see here. Okay, so that way it becomes very transparent in that sense. We don't know exactly who is transferring to whom, or what exact amount, that those details will be hidden, but at least the transaction is visible so that nobody can change this transaction going forward and is tamper proof. So that way, people started implementing in 2009 Bitcoin technology. Similarly, people thought, okay, it is based on proof of work consensus mechanism. Why don't we have something uh, which works in a different consensus mechanism way? Because this consumes a lot of power and energy and everything. Also, a lot of um, specific hardware is required. So why can't we have something which is comparatively lighter on the side? So that's why they um, came up with Ethereum around that time, or even Litecoin, Dogecoin. So there are various cryptocurrencies which came into existence. So in 2008, people started losing trust in the centralized, so they wanted decentralized. They started losing trust in the fiat currencies, so they came up with the cryptocurrencies. Now, because of this cryptocurrency, there was no need of any financial institute or opening account in a bank or something of that sort. You just go to a website, any website like Binance or even this blockchain.com. You go there and you start, let's say, you go here and you start creating wallets. So wallet is nothing but what it asks is just, if you want to sign up, it just asks you about your email ID and maybe the country in which you are. So I already have. Um, mm, let's see if I want to sign up. Yeah. So if I want to sign up, you can see here just email, password, confirm password, and then directly next. And it will create your wallet. So with this wallet, you can directly start performing transactions. So there is no KYC, there is no any institute, financial institute involved, and you can start buying bitcoins, you can start purchasing something. So in our countries, it's not yet used for transactions, but if you go to America or Canada or major countries, even in Japan, you can see that that it is used for exchange. So, for example, you can go to a pizza shop and you can buy pizza with Bitcoin or Ethereum. So it is like a normal currency which is being used. You can pay just like Ola, Uber. You can pay taxi service using cryptocurrencies, or you can purchase tickets of the movies using cryptocurrencies. You can uh, book your seat in a conference using cryptocurrencies. So it's that common in many countries. Even in our country, I think that project started and it didn't develop well, but I think it is still under process. There was a cryptocurrency called as Lakshmi, which was uh, of Indian origin, and they were working on that project. So I think it's still in the progress. So you can have these cryptocurrencies which are in parallel to fiat currencies. So that is started developing around 2013, 2015. You can see market formation. Now people realized, okay, we don't need any intermediate parties or any organization which is taking, let's say, some commission for any transaction. For example, if you want to transfer from India to, let's say, Ghana. So you have to pay transaction fee and commission to the bank for processing that transaction. But if you have applications built on blockchain, it is only the sender and receiver joining this platform. So hardly marginal fees or no fees, and then you can actually transfer it. So there are certain platforms like Ripple, which is again public platform. You can have a look at it, which is, I'm sure you must have covered in the platforms. But again, this is a cryptocurrency, but there is a platform where in cross-border payments become easier. So if you want to transfer, let's say from India to Ghana, let's say through SBI or HDFC, it might take 3 to 4 days to get deposited into the bank there. But if you transfer it through Ripple, or there is another platform called as Taylor. Yeah. So this is the platform. We can see here various business use cases, and many companies have already uh, used it. So you can see Franklin Templeton is using, or MoneyGram is using. So many companies have already used it for cross-border payment. And you can see when you start building applications in the Stellar or such technologies like Ripple. So you can see transactions happening in 6 seconds or 5 seconds. That amount actually getting transferred to the person's account. So it's quite quick. Very little or no transaction fees, and also secure. You can see what is happening. So people started using the similar technology, not just for the financial use cases, but business use cases as well. So for example, I want to, let's say, buy a property or buy a land. So if you want to keep that transaction on blockchain, then it will be, the transaction can happen immediately, and when there is a verification of documents and all the physical visits and everything has happened, then even today we require at least 15 to 20 days to get a home loan, or uh, similar transactions which are getting executed. So at least with the help of blockchain, you can have a buyer and sender, and all those transactions can happen on blockchain. Similarly, for grid, you have a electric grids, right? So the energy that you are creating and the transactions between different parties, or if you are sending it back to, let's say, in Maharashtra MSCB, and then from there it is distributed to others. So instead of having the intermediate party, can we have direct transaction of the um, electric uh, electricity that is getting generated here. So there are many applications which are being built, because the electricity that you are generating, that is consumed by the centralized organization. There are some commissions, even the subsidies and all of that is taking a lot of time. So people are building on applications like this, that intermediate parties are removed using blockchain, and direct um, transaction between the seller and buyer. So such applications started building around the same time, and this is where people started using it for non-financial use cases. So now we have reached industrial growth has is what we have seen in the last few years, and we have reached maturity, and that's why for metaverse we will be using this as a platform. Just like now we are not talking about internet is the new thing. That is not the case, right? It is now assumed. Similarly, blockchain is now assumed. It will be the underlying platform, and on the top of that, we will be building various applications now. So my upcoming is something that is metaverse. So that is where we have reached. Uh, so up to this point, do you have any questions? I'll just briefly take you through your answers. I don't see any question. If you have, just post it in the chat. These things already you must have covered, that what is transaction, what is ledger. So just briefly in one sentence, that current centralized system, let's say you have a supply chain application. So you will have uh, each participant or each stakeholder maintaining their own systems. So some of them might be using Excel sheets to maintain the record. Let's say suppliers are using, banks are using their own client server model, where you have a server where all these softwares are deployed, or how to handle a request is deployed. And you have a clients, which is nothing but your web browsers or mobile applications. Then distributors might be using, let's say, SAP-based systems. Dealers might be using their cloud-based systems. Suppliers might be maintaining in the uh, physical ledgers, hard copy ledgers. So that can also be. So when you want to make sure that all these stakeholders are coming together and they are interacting with one another, then this system of centralization creates a lot of inefficiencies because you don't have direct connect between SAP and cloud and Excel sheets and Excel sheets. The interactivity becomes a problem between the data sets. The cost increases whenever you want to connect to another company. The cost is higher, and also fraudulent activities can happen. Somebody might say, okay, 50 boxes were delivered, but you can tamper that data and say 100 boxes were delivered. Or let's say backdated entries can happen, some tampering of the data might happen. So this centralized system, because they have the access and control, so those are vulnerable to various fraudulent activities. So to avoid that, we are bringing in all these stakeholders on the same page, on the same ledger, which is nothing but our blockchain. So let's say suppliers or distributors or bank records or auditors, all of them will be having a shared replicated copy. In case of private blockchain, it will be permission because only those who have permission, they will be able to access the records. In case of public blockchain, it will be available to everyone, just like we saw here. In this example, like records were getting created. Here we could see in the Explorer that all the transactions were visible to it. So this way also we can have public blockchain. So this is, but internal structure is same, that shared ledger copy. So it is nothing but a decentralized ledger. I'm not taking you through the definition. I'm sure in previous session you must have already covered that. So data is stored in an immutable format. It is secure because inherently it uses cryptography mechanisms as well as hashing techniques. So because of that, it makes it secure, and also consensus algorithms already you must have studied, proof of work, proof of stake, and all that. So this is how the technology works. You can see here how the hash of one block is stored into hash of next block. So you can see here, this is the SHA-256 of the first block, which is Genesis block, is stored into hash of next block, and all your transactions are recorded in the form of transaction block. So if you want to see the structure, this is how the block looks like. Every block will have its own number. You will have hash of previous block, timestamp at which it was created, these transactions, I mean this block's hash value, and all the transactions. So here also in the in this live block, you can see that. So you can see this is the hash of previous block. You can see here Merkle root. This Merkle root is nothing but the hash of this block. You can see how many transactions are there. This is a metadata basically. So you can see how many transactions, 3,388 transactions in this block, and other details also. Once you go into details of Bitcoin, you will know. So this is the current block, and these are the transactions which are available. So if you expand this, you will see from this address to this address, this many Bitcoins are transferred. In this transaction, you can see from these addresses to these addresses. You don't know who these people are, but these are the kind of addresses that you have, and what is the transaction value. So that's why it is a public blockchain. So this is how internal data structure of a block looks. This is at high level. Of course, there are many more fields, but depending on what you choose, what platform you choose, the structure will vary a bit. Smart contracts, already you must have heard about it. Like in simple terms, let's say if you want to transfer 100 rupees from account A to account B, you go to bank and deposit 100 rupees. They will check KYC, they will check your account is valid or not, whether you have 100 rupees balance or not. They will check your receiver's account, whether it is valid or not, and then your transaction happens. Now, we don't want any bank or any bank teller or the accountant who is sitting there to validate this transaction in case of blockchain. So who will perform all these checks? So we need some business logic written and deployed on the nodes of or peers of blockchain um, and peers of the blockchain network basically. And they will verify whether the transaction that you are trying to perform is valid or not. So with the help of smart contract, you will be able to do that. So you can, depending on platform. So let's say you are using Ethereum, so Solidity is the language used for writing smart contract. If you are using Hyperledger Fabric, then you will have basically you will have Hyperledger Fabric chain codes being implemented into Go language, or you can write it in Node.js, Python, depending on the language you choose. So this is what smart contracts are, and then you have a consensus mechanism, which is nothing but proof of work, proof of stake, delegated proof of stake, practical Byzantine fault tolerant algorithms. So various mechanisms in which you achieve the consensus, because in centralized system you have one authority. Here you don't have one authority, you have peers or network of nodes. So who will get the authority to commit that block into at the end of blockchain? That you will decide with the help of consensus mechanism. So it's like, let's say you want to go for a trip and there are 10 friends who are coming together, and let's say out of 10, 8 friends say, okay, let's go to, let's say, Goa. So that is a consensus that is achieved between 10 different people. So here you have 10 nodes. Out of that, let's say 8 people say, okay, this is a valid transaction, then it will be considered as a valid transaction, and then it will be committed at the end of the blockchain. So that is nothing but your consensus mechanism. So there are various platforms, blockchain platforms, on which you can perform these activities. Most popular ones being Ethereum, which is public, as well as you can use it in a private context if you write smart contract and everything, and you use it for your own application, then Ethereum can act as private blockchain as well. If you consider the blocks recently I have shown you just now, so that is a public Ethereum. Then you have Hyperledger Fabric, again a Linux Foundation project under the umbrella of Hyperledger. If you want to know more, you can go and visit their GitHub repository. So, is there any question? Okay. How the hard copy maintained can be shared? I assume this question is related to the hard copy of the documents, right? Is my understanding correct? Hard copy maintained can be shared. Yeah. So let's see. For example, I have health records. Okay. So this is a physical copy. I have received my patholab results in the form of, let's say, a patholab has given me printouts of all the records that I have. So what you do is, first of all, you scan it, create the digital. In case you receive it in a digital format, well and good. Generally, in case of government applications, you don't have digital copies available. So in that case, you have to first of all digitize the record. Once you digitize that, means scan basically. Once you digitize, you keep that off chain, all the records off chain, but the hash of that record is stored on chain. So that way we have basically records maintained on online, right? So anybody trying to change any of those files, the hash will change, and ultimately the record in the blockchain will change. And we know blockchain is tamper proof, so they cannot change that file. So any fraudulent activities can be avoided. Okay, got it. I think we have understood. So yeah, apart from Hyperledger, yeah, I was showing you Hyperledger GitHub repository. So uh, this is the Hyperledger Foundation repository. In that, you will see many projects which come under Hyperledger umbrella. So you can see Fabric here. So in that, how Fabric is designed, what are different modules in that. You can join this community as well. You can see here there are contributors. So in case you want to participate in the open source contribution of Hyperledger Fabric, you can join this community. They have regular calls that happen. You would also know what are the current challenges, what are the fixes required. You will also see what are the upcoming modules which are coming up in the development if you join this community. So that way you can uh, benefit the platform as well. So Ethereum is one, Hyperledger Fabric is one. I'm sure you must have had the session on platform, so I'm not going into that detail. So it's basically a consortium based Hyperledger Fabric. So you'll see Indy is used for identity, then for supply chains you can use Sawtooth. So each platform has different applications under that umbrella of Hyperledger. So to explore if you have more interest. So I would recommend you two platforms, Ethereum and Fabric, if you want to completely you are completely beginner in the blockchain space. So there are too many platforms, right? Corda is for banking applications. You will see Quorum as a platform for investment banking related applications. So the question usually comes that if I want to start, where should I start? So for private blockchain, you should start with Ethereum Fabric, and for public, you can start with Ethereum. Hyperledger Fabric for private blockchain, and for public, you can start with Ethereum. So these are the platforms. I have just given you basics. So in case you have missed or not understood, or whatever is required for the next part of this session, I just wanted to bring all of this on the same page. So coming to metaverse, now this is the technology which is comparatively new, not well known, not um, too much of application, too many of applications available live. Of course, we have many, but not to the extent where blockchain is now. So we will be using blockchain as an underlying foundation for metaverse applications. So basically, what metaverse is currently, if you assume this session, right? So I am sitting in, let's say, a room, which is a physical environment, and I'm talking to you through virtual environment, which is nothing but Google Meet, and it can be Teams. And you are sitting maybe at your home or in your college or in your office, wherever you are sitting. That is your physical space. And still, the virtual space and physical space are not merged together in that sense. Comparatively, they are still isolated. Going forward, in metaverse, the attempt is to make digital and physical world come closer and like create an immersive experience out of it. So instead of we sitting in silos at individual physical spaces and interacting through which virtual world, can we bring in virtual world together or physical world together? So let's say we create a room where our avatars. So what is avatar? We'll talk about it. But avatars can actually sit in front of each other. They can have gestures. They can laugh together. They can learn together. They can perform activities together, and we can have that um, experience of togetherness or just like having a physical face-to-face session using this world. So that is what we are trying to achieve with the help of metaverse. Okay, so this fuses the real world, which is your physical world, with the digital world. You will not know what is real and what is virtual. It is that immersive, right? So it is a collective virtual shared space, and basically it is combining your virtual as well as physical. So now we are moving towards metaverse. How we are moving? What are the simple examples that you can see? I'll just explain in a bit. But it is expected that many people will spend. You can see 25% of the people will spend at least 1 hour in a day with metaverse. For that, various devices are being evolved, various platforms are being built. So just like in 2008 or 2009, 10, whatever stage blockchain was at, now for the blockchain, we assume that internet is available or required hardware is available. So we can build blockchain applications on the top of that. Now, as we are reaching towards maturity of blockchain, we will assume it is underlying there. And on the top of that, just like it was 2008 to 2008, 10 for blockchain applications. Similarly, you will see applications starting on metaverse now. So in 2021, you must have heard that Facebook was named as Meta. Their vision is to bring in many metaverse applications. So we go away from Web 2.0, which is where we are currently, towards Web 3.0. So we will be moving from 2D objects. So what connection we are having to Google Meet is in a 2D format, which is nothing but you can at least show image, you can show presentation in 2-dimension format. There is no depth, there is no interactivity. We cannot sit together. So there is no 3D component to it. There is no immersiveness to it, right? So we will be taking a step ahead, a leap ahead, and we will be moving towards Web 3.0. And metaverse is one of the key enablers in Web 3.0, right? So we will see how we achieve that. So if you consider metaverse, we are moving from internet, which is 2D, which is in the form of course, there is interactivity. With the help of videos, we can actually see. For example, you are learning cooking with the help of YouTube videos, you can actually see. But what if a person who is teaching you cooking is sitting just next to you or standing next to you and you are working together on any of the activities or anything you are cooking together? Or for example, if it is a lab experiment, so two people who are residing at um, different parts of the world coming together and performing that activity together or experiment together. So that will be the actual immersive experience. So that is what we are trying to build. We are moving towards 3D world. So this metaverse will be built on blockchain. Why? Because we want to know where the data is moving. We want to keep the control. In case of centralized system now that we have, which is nothing but, let's say when you are posting your videos or anything on LinkedIn or on Facebook or Insta, Snap, anywhere. So you are worried that my data is being shared somewhere in a centralized. And what is done with that data? You are not sure. Now, the next level of that is you're talking to your phone, maybe Alexa or Siri. So when you're talking to that, then your voice commands are also captured. That data can also be replicated somewhere. Then you must have heard about deepfake attacks, which is nothing but, let's say, Obama's videos. He has not created that video or he has not given that speech, but a fake, similar sounding video and similar gesture, similar uh, hand movements or eye movements. Everything was as it is, but it was not created. So it is a deep fake, is what people call it as. So it is an integration of AI as well. That is where we are moving from 2D to 3D. So that That's the basic of metaverse. So just like I was talking about, instead of having the meetings just like we are having now, we will be in the physical space together. Let's say we are designing a car. So some people in physically present in that environment, but there will be some avatars joining in virtually who are representing you. They have that they have imbibed the qualities of your uh, gestures, hand movements, the data that you have given access to the avatars, and they will be actually interacting in the system. And you can sit at your own place and act as that avatar, right? So that is where we are moving in the metaverse. Secondly, a second application you can see here, we all have learned, let's say, planet systems, right? So how we have learned is basic one image of any of the planet and description about it. So going forward, you will have the immersive experience of planet system. You can zoom in, you can see where the planet is located, you can touch it, you can sense the temperature, what is there. So I'll just show you one video and let me know if it's audible. So this is where Meta has launched. Facebook has launched and renamed it as Meta. And this is a very interesting video. I'll just share the link with you. You can have a look at it later on also. Okay, I'll just show you few bits and pieces around this, and then we can have a look later. So this is the video in 2021 when Meta was declared. The name of the Facebook was changed from Facebook to Meta. So at that time, this video was created and released. So you can see how planet system will work. So let's say okay. Is it audible to you? Video? Just confirm once. Is it audible? No? Hmm. Do I have option? Let me check. Share the tab instead. Now let me know.
In the family. Actually,
Is it audible now? Can anyone confirm? Is it audible?
I have to write this paper. Will you help me? Let's take a closer look.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Okay. So here is a situation where the girl is asking that I want to write a paper on planet system or any of the planets. So you can see the immersiveness. Initially, we have to read. Now, even currently, we read about it maybe on mobile or your laptop or in a book. You just see the images or you can see the video. But you can see the difference here from video to the immersive environment, how we are moving towards metaverse.
To write this paper. Have an So we're gonna have an astrophysicist in the family. Actually, I have to write this paper. Will you help me? Let's take a closer look. What part of the solar system are we talking about?
Saturn.
If you were taking astrophysics, you could study in the metaverse.
Did you know the rings are made up of billions of icy particles?
Really?
Look at this.
You're ready to do that paper now, right?
Yeah.
Right? So you can see the immersiveness that you get with the help of metaverse. Otherwise, it would have been just one page in a book or an image, or we could have seen just video of Planet 16 in the YouTube or somewhere else. But here you can interact, you can zoom in, you can zoom out. You can go to the minute details. If you want to study a particular part from that universe, then you can just touch and feel and all the temperature. Of course, while building that application, all those data is fed in, and then when you are using that as an application user, then you will be able to see those experiences. So that's the advantage. I just show you a couple of examples from that metaverse so that you get an idea of what all things are possible. Also, in a bit, I'll talk about avatar. So let's see how avatars are created in the metaverse. We can see here. You can watch this video later. But yeah.
Created virtually. It has things in. Imagine you put on your glasses or headset and you're instantly in your home space. It has parts of your physical home recreated virtually. It has things that are only possible virtually. And it has an incredibly inspiring view of whatever you find most beautiful.
Hey, are you coming?
All right, perfect.
So he is creating an avatar for himself, which avatar can interact with other digital universes also, other metaverses also. I know sometimes it feels too much to imagine at this moment, but small changes around this you can see. So you must have observed. Let me share the presentation again. Okay. So you must have observed the change in Meta or Facebook. You must have seen, or even on WhatsApp, you must have seen that it is very popular to have avatars now. So they ask you to create your own avatar, and you can interact your instead of emojis, which were just 2Ds now. Even though you had very expressive emojis, but it is moving from these emojis. You are moving towards avatars. Now these avatars will capture how you laugh, how you interact, how your hand movements are, how your ball movements are, and then you can create your own avatars, and these avatars can be sent into the metaverse for interacting with other users. So there will not be any physical barriers. It will be very immersive. You will be interacting with these worlds. So this is how avatars. You can take any avatar that you want. So it is nothing but a virtual presentation of the physical users. It has gestures, features, behavior. They ask you to create exactly look-alike, basically, in the virtual space. So you can have your personal data stored with that, and they can interact with. You will have the devices, so head-mounted devices will be used. AR, VR will be used for all of this, and we'll see how metaverse is evolving. So now, as we are moving towards Web 3.0, you will have platforms. So you can see here, underlying platforms will be already in place. There will be machine-to-machine interaction using blockchain and everything. Currently, we are here where you have social media and rich user experiences, but we will be moving towards more semantic web, and we will have very intelligent computers. You have a control of what data you are sharing. You have a traceability. So let's say an avatar is moving from office space to your college space and college space to your let's say in your conference space or worse is world, uh, while it is traversing across various metaverses. So digital footprints are getting created for that user. So keeping track of that using blockchain would be possible, that where that person was or avatar was at what point in time, what was shared, what is to be shared, what is not to be shared. All that you can keep the record on blockchain. So this is where we are moving. You can see currently we have Facebook, we have Snapchat, you have YouTube, Insta, and everything. This is participatory, centralized. Still, it is decentralized, not decentralized, right? So here in Web3, you will be having the platforms which are decentralized, based on Ethereum, based on you can see here MetaMask and Bitcoin or any Hyperledger Fabric network, or you will have file system, interplanetary file system. So all those tools and technologies you will be using in Web 3.0, which will be blockchain as a foundation and metaverse application on the top of that. So you can see here, protocol layers will have your Ethereum, or you will have Bitcoin there. Solana is another platform. Avalanche is something you will have, or Polygon is another blockchain platform which you will have. So this will form a protocol layer or underlying layer for building all those Web3 applications. On the top of that, you will have identity related mechanisms, how transactions are to be performed. So all those details you will have here. And then you will have file system mechanism like IPFS, which is interplanetary file systems. You will also have on the top of that applications, which is use case layer. So you can have NFTs. We'll talk about how to create NFTs and what is the use of it. So NFTs, you can create content on the top of that. You can have gaming platforms like Axie or Decentraland, which is a metaverse platform underlying blockchain technology. So this is what you will have. Then on the top of that, you can create MetaMask wallets or Coinbase wallets. Just like I have shown you on blockchain.com, you can have wallets created on the top of it. So this is where Web 3.0 is heading. And advantages is basically you have a decentralized messaging, you will have a decentralized browsers, you can have very interactive remote jobs. So generally people say come to office because there is no interactivity. There are certain limitations of that. Just like, for example, in the class, if you are sitting and you are asking questions, you have your facial expressions are also there, hand movements are there. Collaborative group activities can happen in case of physical environments. But in case of remote jobs, you can have metaverse implemented and you can have similar interactivity as well. Decentralized exchanges would be possible. Cryptocurrencies and everything will also be in use. Right? So if you look at the overall architecture or the layers which are being used in the metaverse application, is first you will have smart contracts and decentralized ledgers which are underlying platform. On the top of that, you can have open source programming standards. Hardware is also a part of network. I mean, peer-to-peer network only. Then you can have your programming languages. On the top of that, you will have your internet which is running, and then you will have a metaverse application or different use cases implemented on the top of that. So you can have metaverse applications of two different types. One is blockchain based currently. Going forward, it will be all blockchain based, or there can be metaverse applications without blockchain, something like AR, VR applications, which are running in isolation. But again, you don't have interoperability between them. For example, if I'm building one, I'm a user in one of the games and I want to traverse to another universe, right? Another metaverse. So I don't have interoperability. My identity is different on different platforms. And going forward, you will have thousands and thousands of metaverses created. So how one user can navigate from one verse to another verse, one world to another world. So for that, you will need blockchain as underlying platform for all those applications. So that is where we are heading now. And then for blockchain-based metaverse, you have NFT applications, or you will have different cryptocurrency transactions which are happening. So that is also ongoing. Okay. Now, how we combine metaverse and blockchain together. So you will have the content which is getting created will be transacting in the form of NFTs. You will have Web3 as underlying foundation. Then you can create avatars and interact with other avatars or other devices or other assets in the network. You can create your replicas as well, or it can also be, like I mentioned, one person traversing from one world to another world, and underlying foundation is blockchain. So that way also we can have. We will have decentralized nodes which will be uh, laying foundation for that. You will have portability of data set which you have created in one verse. Let's say you have, um, for example, there is a metaverse created for your college, and you have Stanford University metaverse, and you want to port some lab experiments from there to here. You want to bring some, collaborative work that you want to do in the research. So you can do that with the help of metaverse as well. There will be traceability of the work as well. So this is how it looks. Before I go ahead, do you have any questions till this point? Video is not playing. Um, can you see PPT, because I shared it again, right? It must be quite early. Is there any other messages? Actually, that was earlier. Okay, got it. Any other questions till this point? Okay. If not, then I'll take you to the framework. So yeah, like I was already mentioned, I have mentioned that hardware, network, and then your cloud or internet, those layers will be underlying layers. Then on the top of that, you can have blockchain, and then the metaverse applications running here. Then your avatars as a part of that application. Then avatars will be creating content. So uh, they might be having interaction in the conference. They might be uh, singing in any of the events. So that is again the content creation. Then people might be paying for that service. Let's say people have come, you are a great singer and you are creating that content in the metaverse. Then people will have a virtual economy and they will pay you for uh, availing those services. So some of you might create your lectures in the metaverse, very interactive one, and people can actually pay you for attending those lectures. That such scenarios are also possible. Similarly, for gaming industry, also there are wide set of applications, and people actually pay to enter into that universe to get various rewards. Also, very immersive experience that you have with Meta. And then finally, you have security issues. Of course, there are many open areas for those who are looking for the research in the similar field or something which is futuristic. Then definitely look for the applications in the security domain for metaverse or blockchain for metaverse. I'm also working in the similar field. And then trust and accountability, then social acceptability, because currently people are used to uh, uh, physical interactions, and then this will be virtual plus physical. So acceptability takes some time, just like we used to go and buy vegetables or any of the clothes or anything of that sort, but now we are easily order online, um, Amazon or Myntra or Zepto or whatever are the applications. Similarly, this also will be a norm, and you will see, I'll show you a graph where education industry is growingly using metaverse. which universities, and what is the market which is expected. So last year it was, what was the range, and in next 5 years where metaverse will be in the educational learning. So lots of application is what we will see. So this technology will use blockchain. It will also use AI for you also need to know the different data sets you want to apply your AI/ML algorithms on the top of that. You also want to know the source from where it is coming, and for that blockchain plays a lot of important role, because the information that you are trying to process, the source of that information should also be valid, and then only you will be able to process data and predict the behavior and everything. But for that, the source of information should be right, and that is where blockchain will be major role. So different blockchains which are working in metaverse is Ethereum. So there are platforms of metaverse like Decentraland and Sandbox. So I'll just show you. Decentraland is the platform where you can actually create an account. You can see my MetaMask is being used there, which is nothing but wallet. So in Decentraland, basically you have applications like this, where you can buy and sell lands, which are decentralized lands, basically. And you will find it funny, people are actually buying lands in a decentralized world, and not just in few rupees or few dollars, but in billions of dollars. People have invested and they are reselling the lands in Decentraland, and it is being bought. It's uh, like over asset that you invest into. Decentraland, it will take some time to load because multiple things are open. But you can explore this platform. This is the website, decentraland.org. And you can create your account there, and you can see how different transactions are going on. Yeah. So you can see these are the lands and which you can buy. You can have a avatars created. You can interact, play around. You can see here jumping. You can buy something here. Something like this. So this looks like a gaming, but it is like a virtual world which is created. So you can use it. This is default, and you can change your avatars and everything. I'm just showing you demo. So you can attend such conferences also. You can attend any concert also. Multiple avatars can create. So this is in 2D world again. I don't have any device as such being used. But as you move, as you run, as you walk, the avatar will walk. That complete connection is there in the physical world. So you can see another avatar here. You can interact like this. You can sit, you can read whatever you're reading, that data gets stored with your avatar. Right? So just an example. And you could see that, right? Screen is visible. Let's come to that. So yes, decentralized is something I have shown you, and underlying technology for that, when you are transacting, let's say you are buying a land, so this happens in a blockchain environment. So you could see MetaMask, which is a wallet used for Ethereum. You can connect it to Ethereum, and all the transactions will happen with cryptocurrency. You don't need to have something in physical world for that. Sandbox is another one. Then Solana is a platform which is used, which is again on a smaller scale. You can use for deploying various metaverse-based virtual worlds. Polkadot is another platform. So these are the underlying blockchain platforms, and metaverse are being built. Briefly, I'll introduce you to XRAR in case you don't know. So how, I don't want to talk about the technology, but I want to talk about the applications which slowly are getting um, around, implemented around, right? So for example, you must have seen the feature in Amazon, which is you take the 360-degree feel of your room, and they suggest you whether that object will fit um, in your physical environment or not. For example, you are buying a sofa, it will ask you to scan the room, and it will take exact idea about how it looks and what are the colors of your wall and the around objects around, and it will mention whether that sofa will fit in, and in case fits in, then how it will look, how much space will be left besides. So IKEA is the example, or Amazon is the example where they started implementing a layer on the top of physical, which is nothing but your augmented reality, right? So one layer on the top of your physical environment. So I'll just show you one video. The sound I need to share again. And let me open that video in YouTube. And just search for IKEA augmented reality. Let me share that again. And so tab. So here you can see how augmented reality.
Abba, you know, this has been the most perfect holiday ever. Great view.
Hey,
I hope
IKEA
it's audible, right? Just confirm first.
would like everyone to know about
Can you hear it? Okay, great. Thanks.
Place, our new augmented reality app. Built on Apple's new AR kit, you can easily place true-to-scale 3D models of IKEA furniture in your place. Scan,
You can scan.
browse, select, move, and place. So that could mean less of this.
See, generally when we buy, we have to measure it and then decide, okay, this is fitting in our place or not.
And less of this. And probably more of this. We want to make it easier for people everywhere to imagine a better place. Share this place and this place. Try place in your place.
Right? So it is an application called IKEA Place, but same application you can have for any, not just furniture, but you can have the overall scan of your place, and you can get suggestions from Amazon. So that feature is already there in the app. So that is nothing but augmented reality. A small change. Moving from smileys to avatars, small change, right? So this way we are moving slowly, gradually towards metaverse 3.0, basically Web 3.0. It will be more immersive than what we have currently. Similarly, same video they have explained. So you can start using these applications. Going forward, you will have devices. Same way I can explain for Apple Vision Pro. So you must have heard about Apple Vision Pro. which was launched. So these are the devices used for having, AR, VR experience or metaverse experience in the environment. So this was released last year. And just see in this video what is the vision of Apple to move towards immersiveness, right? Using this device. So I'll just show you. It is a bit long video, but 10 minutes, but quickly skip.
Introducing Apple Vision Pro. The era of spatial computing is here.
So this is the device that you need currently for interacting. Even in that planet system example or that video, you could see that she was wearing glasses. So currently you need devices for that. Then later on it will be small wearable devices. Currently they are a bit heavy, but going forward there is a lot of research going on to make it lightweight.
When you put on Apple Vision Pro, you see your world and everything in it. Your favorite apps live right in front of you.
See, now 2D is where you have everything in the phone, right? So your apps and everything is not in the space around you or in front of you when you are looking. But when you have this device, you can actually see it in the space, which is more immersive, right? Instead of having handheld devices. So that is where you can just select any of the application just using your eyeballs. And that will be more immersive. You can scroll just like moving your hand, just by moving your hand. So that way it will be more immersive.
But now they're in your space. This is Vision OS, Apple's first ever spatial operating system. It's familiar yet groundbreaking. You navigate with your eyes. Simply tap to select, flick to scroll, and use your voice to dictate. It's like magic. Apps have dimension. React to
Yes, they have dimension, which is a third dimension. So when you see picture or video, it is in 2D now. Going forward, it will be 3D.
light and cast shadows. Even though these spatial experiences are happening inside Vision Pro, it looks, sounds, and feels like they are physically there. Foundational to Apple Vision Pro is that you're not isolated from other people. When someone else is in the room, you can see them, and they can see you. Because you're not limited by a display, apps live in your space. Your photos can be life-size, or any size, so your living room becomes a gallery. And panoramas wrap around you as if you're right where you took them. Apple Vision Pro is Apple's first ever 3D camera. Now, you can capture photos and videos with remarkable depth and relive a memory as if you're right back in the exact moment.
Hey, Dad!
Experiences on Vision Pro can also expand in 3 dimensions, filling the entirety of your space. Like in the Mindfulness app, where you can create a moment of calm. Apple Vision Pro brings the scale and wonder of a movie theater to whatever space you're in.
Because
It automatically darkens and casts a beautiful glow into the room. And you can make the screen as big as you want. Spatial audio surrounds you and makes you feel like you're a part of the action. And for an extraordinary cinematic experience, you can bring in a beautiful environment and make your screen feel 100 feet wide.
Here to to start.
Vision Pro is a wonderful way to play your favorite games.
Curry against Smart.
Just connect your controller and play on a massive screen with incredible audio. With Apple Vision comes to life at fantastic scale.
So you can have
The
a
web
call.
comes to life at fantastic scale. Text is crisp and easy to read. Browsing the internet feels new,
There is no screen in front of you.
and Safari
the space.
expands so you can see all your open tabs.
Simultaneously, you can have calls with your friends.
Your favorite apps from Apple and the App Store are there. You can arrange them however you like and work seamlessly across them.
Hi. Hey.
Hi, did you receive the deck?
Yeah, I'm
See,
looking
this
at it
is
now.
all in space.
So, what did you think?
FaceTime looks and sounds amazing in Apple Vision Pro.
Yeah.
You see people life size, and with spatial audio,
You're not bound to your laptop or phone and opening multiple screens at the same time, but you can see video is going on your right, your files are on your left, but in the environment, you can see them in your physical environment. So you can move hands, you can walk around. So it's more immersive. And this is just, again, this is a video call, but going forward, you can have avatars which are coming together and you're reading a file together, you're working on a project together, like that.
and collaborating becomes even easier. And because you see the world around you, you can click a 13 huge screen. And a Apple Vision Pro is remarkably compact and beautiful.
Share this link with you so that you can watch this later. Okay. All right. Now coming back to the presentation, let me reshare. So basically it uses augmented reality, IKEA example that we saw. If it is just virtual, I mean, in case of IKEA example, the physical space existed and on the top of that you provided augmented layer. That's why it was augmented reality. Just like filters that we have, face filters or cat filter and mouse filter and whatever. So you have these filters are nothing but a layer on the top of physical. So in that case, it becomes augmented reality. If it is virtual, means that does not exist, but very similar to that environment is created. So for example, a roller coaster ride that does not exist, but it is created in our virtual environment. For example, I'll not play the video, but you can have a look. Roller coaster. Right here in virtual reality, right? So you can actually get a feel of it. Any example you can take. This one. Maybe this one. You can see it. Right? You can actually get a feel of it. Your device that you have, as if you are sitting. This is a virtual reality. So this is not the actual environment, but they have created similar environments using VR and all, right? This might be real, but you can see how exactly that feel is if you look at any of the. This is the device that you wear, and you get a feel as if you are sitting on that, right? You can get some animals and something creative. So this is virtual reality. Augmented is on the top of that, you can have something which is which will augment the physical environment. So that will be your augmented reality. And mix is where, for example, in augmented you had uh, a wall, and that is where your sofa was augmented. And you can have one more virtual, which is, let's say, a plant just at the side, on the side of that sofa. So in that case, it will be mixed reality, augmented as well as virtual as well as everything. So in that case, it will be possible to bring in everything. For that, you require different devices for sure. So different applications can be there for example, in video, medical, interesting use case of metaverse or even AR VR. You will see in the medical uh, surgeries. So there was one surgery which recently got executed. Surgery. Yes. Yeah, I can search about this. So this is, you can read papers also around that, but you can see surgery meets metaverse. So you can see recently there was a, this doctor neurosurgeon has specialized and he used some devices, and using metaverse he has basically conducted one surgery remotely. I mean, he was sitting at some other place. This patient was at in another country, and they have carried out this in metaverse. Whenever he was, let's say, if he wants to cut some part of the body, then he was doing it in metaverse at his own place, and it was getting executed into the real environment. So this is possible. You can read papers also, news also around the same. Very interesting use cases. So you can see completes a real-time surgery across 8,800 kilometers. They were apart 8,000 kilometers, and still they could perform it. Very interesting use cases. Again, for military training, not necessarily you go into the real situations every time while you are in training. So to simulate that and perform those activities is an interesting use case. So for that, what you'll need is basically motion sensors to track the gestures or your hand movements or anything of that sort. So various algorithms, 3D modeling, you will require software programming and hardware, motion tracking and everything. So different devices, Oculus is the company which provides, like I mentioned, Apple Vision Pro is another one. Then you have HTC, Samsung, Google, different new versions are getting launched as the technology is evolving. Similarly for VR, the standard example is Pokemon Go. You must have heard about that game, and many people were augmenting Pokemon on the top of your physical world, and you could search that around. So that is a augmented reality example. It uses computer vision and all of that. I'll just keep these slides just to get into the details of NFTs. Okay. Then we talked about AR, VR, XR, mixed realities. Okay. So now, if you want to enter into metaverse, underlying technology is blockchain. If you want to enter it into this field, then there are different ways in which you can do. First, as a developer, you can develop the applications around this. There will be, for example, if you want to build something like infrastructure of your college on in the metaverse, you can build it using Roblox or any such similar applications or platforms, right? You can, if you want to have something like land purchase or selling kind of activities, you can have it on decentralized. If you want to build something in the gaming zone, you can build it with Unity, 3D, or Unreal Engine. So those are the platforms. So as a developer, you can enter, or you can enter as a creator. So creator can be, for example, you are a professor and expert into any of the fields. Then you will create the content in the area of your expertise, and that will be that will remain as just like you have on YouTube videos. Similarly, this will be content which will be in 3D, just like live experience. People can interact with you in the metaverse. So that content will remain there. People can pay um, in the metaverses and they can consume it. So, and also collaborative work can happen if you are a content creator, or many singers are releasing their content in the metaverse environment so that people start uh, consuming it. And then as a content consumer, so in case you are just using, just like I entered the central, and as a consumer you can explore the things, you can see what is there, or people who are creating that content you can buy, purchase, so you become a consumer of that, or just explore, then you become a consumer. So you can build those platforms, you can create content on the top of those platforms, and you can consume that. So that way you can enter the metaverse. For that, different platforms are there. Like I mentioned, Unity 3D is there, Unreal Engine, and some cloud-based platforms are also available. Like in Amazon you have, or in AWS you have. So cloud-based platforms are there, which you can use for developing. As a content creator, you can create something like, whether you are a teacher or fitness coach or video creator, painter, musician, live streamer. So these are the places where your content can be hosted in the metaverse environment. And as a content consumer, so you'll need devices, of course, for that if you want to interact. Um, just like we were learning about the planet system. So she could zoom in. She had that glasses she has worn. So similarly, you will have head-mounted devices. In case you are interacting with hand also, so you will have hand-held devices also. So in your physical environment, you can directly interact with it. So these are the platforms. Unity 3D, I already mentioned. There are some features of those platforms. What are the use cases? So quickly, I'll talk about different use cases of metaverse where you're using blockchain as an underlying. So we have seen interaction through Apple Vision Pro. So you can choose, like, let's say in case of Amazon, you have the listing of all the dresses that you want to purchase. Let's say there is a list and then you purchase, but you don't know how it will look and feel on you. But if you have your avatars created, you can get that feel. You can pay in cryptocurrencies. You can have a color choosing also immediately. So in our case, now you have it in 2D. So you can't actually feel, you can actually rotate, you can zoom in, you can zoom out and see that, or you can't walk with that dress. So that everything is not as intuitive as it should be. But if you have that in metaverse, you can perform those. So major companies like H&M and many more, they are entering into metaverse space. So you can see video around that as well. You can see metaverse store of H&M coming. You can try out whatever is your avatar. You can try out. You can choose the color, size, everything. This is made in funny way, but you can have actual virtual uh, avatar created for you and trying out different things. That's very nice. See, this is open source that was long back. So this is how the store looks like. You can explore it. Also sale and everything. This is in video format, but when you will have your head-mounted devices, you can interact, you can try it out, you can feel the material and everything, right? So that is possible. Second application is in the data visualization, like I have shown you in that Apple Vision Pro video. So not just in the form of just graphs or anything, but you can dissect it further and bring it together as well. Merge and dissect is possible because it is in 3D or multi-dimension. Also, the trainings like military training we talked about. Similarly, mining related training. You can see this person is working on a simulator, but before he enters into JCB or any of the similar environments, he will be trained. Just like in our car driving, also you have some simulations, but this will be a bit advanced. It is also being used in the air. Basically, aeroplanes have different models, so not it will not be possible to train individuals in all the models, right? So depending on what airlines you are using, what model of the flight that you are using, so depending on that, internal structure differs. So when you want to train a pilot or when you want to train air hostesses or anybody like that, then you don't have all the models ready with you. So better to use simulations in the form of metaverses so that they can actually walk through, they can understand the seating arrangements, different cabinets and everything they can understand, and then they will be able to easily navigate through the models. So for the training purposes, it is being used. Various universities are using it for the virtual learning purpose. So you'll see the graph where by 2023, 8.11 billion US dollars are invested in the metaverse learning process. The growth rate is expected at 40% till 2028. There is an increasing demand for virtual learning, but there is a limitation also, like we could see in the COVID situation, or even in practicals, you can see that there is a limitation, especially in the areas where physical presence is essential. For example, hotel management, where you want to train people, you have to have people in front of you. Otherwise, how you'll show it? Not it's not as effective as it will be in the physical environments. So have it in metaverse. So many companies are building hotel management trainings into blockchain space. Various projects are mentioned here. So mesh for Microsoft Teams. Microsoft Teams, you can see that initially it used to be just 2D metrics, right? So just 2 by 2 people, you can see they're just like we are seeing now. But going forward, they have implemented one module where you can actually sit together and get a feel like person is sitting or somebody is leaving the meeting. So they give a feel like he is walking out of window. You must have seen that visualization. Again, in Teams or similar platforms, you can create avatars, you can raise hand. So when you're raising hand, you can actually see avatar raising hand. When you are laughing, that person can see that the avatar is laughing. So these are the integrations which are ongoing and eventually will lead to the complete immersive experience. So many universities are implementing. You will see this being used in the IIT use case also. So there was a IIT Bombay convocation which happened. I don't remember the year in Metaverse. Yeah. So you can see this. Yeah. You can see these are the avatars of the students and these are the avatars of professors who are distributing degrees. So you can see IIT Bombay conducts virtual convocation using metaverse in coronavirus pandemic. Now, how blockchain is helping is because the authenticity of the user, what data is being shared, when it was distributed, what kind of certificates were distributed. Every record you can keep on blockchain, and on the top of that, you can use these avatars and immersive environments and everything, so that real-time recording of that happens in the blockchain. So these are the e-avatars of director Subhashish Chaudhary. So similarly, you can create for your college environment. You can see avatars sitting in the room, actual convocation was used. So these are all uh, right. This was in 2020. Similarly, in Silicon Valley also, I think it was in Minecraft. I think it is Santa Barbara University. Yes. Yeah, yes, you can see this. So they have created virtual tour of their campus. So generally in our colleges also, in the at the time of admission, many people tend to visit. They cannot visit all the campus, all the elements in the campus or buildings in the campus. So if you create video, that's okay. But if you create such experience, they can walk. They would know how far is the library, how far is the lab, how far two buildings are apart, how many stairs are there. So all that feel you can get with the help of metaverse. I'll just show you one demo. You can see here in University of California, Santa Barbara, students have used Minecraft, which is another metaverse platform. They have used the scale of 1 block to 1 meter, which is, let's say, you can consider like 1 meter as one small component in the metaverse environment. And they have built the complete campus, how the lawn looks like, where is the library situated, how many steps you have to climb to reach your classroom, for example. So like that, you can build for your colleges also. So this is built in metaverse. You can walk. How many trees are there? What's the pond located? And because it is a video, it is moving fast. But if they have given you one element like you are riding a horse, and your horse becomes the avatar, and you are sitting on that avatar, and as you are moving your cursors, you can see on the left what is located, on the right what is located. So that way, they have built so similar walkthroughs you can build for the institutions. There's another application. E-commerce we have discussed, and in entertainment, if you want to use metaverse, it can be using different senses also. So vision is just one, or hearing is one, which is smell. So I have seen one example of this at Mount Fuji. So there is one display or one outlet where actually you can go and experience Mount Fuji in Japan in different seasons. So let's say when you visit and it is a winter season, you will see snow on the Mount Fuji. But in the rainy season, it looks different. When the volcano is active, it looks different. So they have given you a bird eye view, or actually you act as an avatar, as a bird, and you are flying in those gardens. And when it is a cherry blossom season, they actually give you smell of cherries, cherry blossom flowers. And then they actually give you a feel of heat when you are flying from that volcano. So all the senses are being used. So it is another application of metaverse where you touch, and when it is raining, then they sprinkle water on you. When it is, for example, if any, uh, what you can say, any element of uh, smell, for example, grass, when it is flowing through grassy land, then they give you that smell. So all the senses are being developed, not just in gaming or entertainment, but it can be applicable in, for example, aged people, they want to travel world and they want to get that feel. You will see many temples also being built in metaverse as an application. So you can actually walk and get a feel of how that temple looks like. For gaming experience, why blockchain based metaverse? So basically, it ensures the ownership. We know that in gaming there are various rewards that you earn, various coins that you earn, or various swords that you earn. So ensures the ownership of those um, rewards that you have got in the gaming. You can easily trade, you can purchase, you can secure your assets also, and interoperability between different games is also possible. Similarly, for workplace meetings, you can have a fully immersive experience. You can work on a project together, you can work on a file together. Uh, you can have a feel of having sitting next to each other and working on that project. So that's possible. Travel industry. So many at times you must have experienced that when you travel to any place, the hotel is not as it is shown in the photos or videos. It is located far from the main road or main locality. So you'll not get that idea. But that's why many travel um, companies are giving the feel beforehand. Like let's say if you want to book a hotel near beach, and it is saying that the beach is 200 meters or 300 meters from this location. So you want to actually experience that, how the room looks like, how many steps I need to get down, how far it is from the lift, how much I need to how much time I need to spend to reach the actual main beach area, how far are the restaurants from the hotel. So all these things, if you want to experience, people are building that experience into metaverse, and again, it is trustworthy because blockchain and everything is involved. These platforms I already mentioned, Sandbox and Decentraland. So there are many more. Then explore those. I quickly talk about non-fungible tokens. So non-fungible tokens are becoming popular day by day. So whether it is Amitabh Bachchan or Shah Rukh Khan, many celebrities have also created their non-fungible tokens. For this non-fungible token is generally, for example, if I say 1 rupee and your 1 rupee and my 1 rupee, both of them have same value. But let's say the value I might have for the, let's say, uh, World Cup final match may not be equivalent to another person who is not interested in the cricket. Or let's say I have a signed bat from Sachin Tendulkar, for example, or Virat Kohli. So the value of that is uh, too much for me, for example, and the value can keep on growing day by day. So uh, such things which are valuable are not of same value to everyone. That can be converted into a token on blockchain, and you can keep on selling that. For example, I have a rare concert which I have attended of Lata Mangeshkar, which is quite uh, valued by many people. So I can keep on selling that, or I might have a very niche technology lecture which is available with me, and it is not available to everyone in the public forum. So I can create an NFT of that, and I can keep it as one of the tokens in the blockchain space, and that can keep on um, transacting from one person to, so another person might buy it, and once they buy it, that transaction is recorded on blockchain, and then another person might buy it at higher price. So it is also essential in case where you want royalty, or you want some loyalty for that, right? So for example, there are singers who have created some tune, and it it might be the case that piracy is being used and the original creator is not paid for that. So in that case, NFTs help, and when it is moving from one person to another person, or another person is buying that, every time they will be getting some amount in return, right? So the original creator, so even if it is a third transaction or fourth transaction, every time they will get the royalty for that. So which we do not have in the centralized systems. So for that, non-fungible tokens has to be unique, traceable, rare, indivisible, and programmable. So you can have true ownership on that. You can buy and sell NFTs. So there are platforms like OpenSea. I'll just show you in a minute. You can go to OpenSea platform, which is used for NFTs, or there is NFT5. Different platforms are there. So you can see different NFTs already in place here in art sector. So some people might create a painting and they keep on selling. So what transactions are going on around that, for what ethers it is being transacted, how many volumes are available. Let's say 19 such collections are available, or 14 are available. What was the price for that? You can buy and sell using your whatever balance you have in the wallet. You can buy. You can create your own also. For that, you need some balance. And then of Ethereum, you can create your own. Let's say you have a lecture, very unique lecture. You can create the NFT of that, and people can keep on buying that, and you will get the royalty for that. So this is how NFTs work. That's what I wanted to give you a brief idea about. Apart from that, now what are the open research areas in the metaverse field? So basically data privacy, as many people or many avatars are interacting, many devices are interacting with each other. So for that, you need to have the data privacy and security, which is the major concern. Ecosystem interoperability. Recently, I was reading a news 2 days back, and they are saying that major platforms are looking for interoperability in the next 4 to 5 years, so that one avatar created in one universe can navigate into different platforms. So that is another open challenge. Then if anybody is there is a freedom of speech in the metaverse also, but if any misinformation that is being spread, uh, that is also a hate speech, or any wrong comments around any community or any specific country. So that should be avoided, as avatars are free and there is no control as such. Monetization, the new identity of the users across domains. So different such hurdles are there, which metaverse has to overcome over the period. So I just wanted to give you one simple interoperability solution that I'm currently working on. So let's say there is a metaverse which is built in the Unreal Engine, which is a eduverse, which is educational verse in one domain. Let's say one university is implementing metaverse for their campus, and then another university for their own purpose, then different universities on different platforms. So how identity interoperability and data interoperability can be achieved, that is what blockchain enabled solution I'm building as a part of my PhD research. So you can see the publications also, which I already have, and you can refer in case you're trying to publish in this. So there are various such issues which are open, and there are many more as well. You can keep on exploring if you want to take it ahead. And also application building as a creator, also you can look at various opportunities in this field. Also as a user, because it will be inevitable, just like we have to use internet in today's world, today's age. Similarly, metaverse will be inevitable for all of us, and we have to use it going forward. So better to keep on exploring the opportunities around the same. So this is all I wanted to cover. In case you have any questions, anything around the concepts that we have covered in the last 2 hours, feel free to ask.
Any questions, participant? Okay.
Okay. If there are no questions, close.
Just a second, ma'am. I just want to thank you. So thank you all. Thank you, Sonali ma'am, for your wonderful session along with such a practical experiences. Ma'am, you covered a lot of things. Start with the basics of the blockchains, evolutions, then the various platforms, online platforms where we can do out a transaction like a Ripple, Ethereum, Hyperledger, where we need to start out. Then we had the metaverse, the importance of that particular metaverse, the various use cases, basic concept, and such a so many different things that we haven't thought of with respect to a blockchain and how it can be effectively implemented. So with respect to that, I want to thank you from the entire Datta Meghe College and IT department to Sonali ma'am for such a wonderful sessions and the insights on metaverse. So thank you once again, and I hope that again in the future, if you have with all these FDP and workshops, you will be there with us. Thank you, Sonali ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Participants are requested to fill out the attendance, and tomorrow again we'll meet at the same time, 11 o'clock. Thank you all.